Hello, everybody. My name is Kitty, and I will be your host for today's Etcher Mini Workshop preview. If you can see us and hear us okay, please type llama in the chat or let us know from where you're viewing today. Let us know how your day's going so far. Tell us how excited you are to see Inna paint an underwater scene. As soon as we get some comments in the chat, we can get going. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So again, my name is Kitty and I will be your host today. We are here with Inna, who is going to be teaching us how to paint an underwater scene. So if you have questions for Inna, please do put them in the chat in all capital letters so that I can see them more clearly. And if the question is relevant to what Inna is doing at the moment, I will ask her at that time. If not, I will hold off those questions until our question and answer session at the end. And if for some reason I haven't asked your question at the end, please do put it into the chat again, just in case I missed it. And also, we have a private Facebook group. So if you plan to follow along with today's exercise, and you would like to share it and maybe get some feedback from Inna, please post it to our Facebook group, and that way she'll be able to see it. So I'm going to put that link into the chat right now as well. There we go. Oh, we have people from all over the place. We have people from Germany, Texas, Tampa. Thank you for joining, everybody. All right, so Inna, I am going to hand it over to you. Take it away.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Inna Nagaytseva. I am a Ukrainian artist based now in Russia, and I like watercolor a lot of much. I'm a self-taught artist. I have painted with watercolor nearly 4 years. I love to paint some North landscapes, whales, ships, cold sea, and underwater scenes. So today we will paint this underwater landscape with the school of fish and diver. I can show you more paintings, what you can paint with my technique. For example, you can paint some quickly sketch like this. And on my next mini workshop, we will paint beautiful sunken ship like this. And I have a lot of paints with underwater. For example, this.
Oh, wow.
Divers in the cave. And this sunken ship. With diver and a lot of fish. It's very interesting theme I think for painting, and for real it's not very hard to paint. I think it's easy. Of course you need to adapt a little, but I think you will do it very cool all.
And you have a comment in the chat saying that they love your hair.
Oh, thank you very much.
I've noticed that the colors kind of match your color palette of your paintings.
Yes, I love green, blue, maybe gray. It's my favorite colors. So, if you're ready, we can start to paint.
Great.
Today I have an etcher sketchbook. You see, blue, gray. It's 100. It have 100% cotton paper. I have my brushes for watercolor, mechanical pencil, eraser, and my paints. I'm using Daniel Smith watercolors. So let's start to paint. I will show you our reference, I want to make some changes in my reference. We will do it landscape, so we will paint our diver on the right side, and I think we will paint the school of fish at the left side. We will add a bottom, we will add some sunlight from the water. It's not hot, so I think it will be easy. Sorry if my English bad, because I'm not English speaker, but I was prepared.
I think your English is great.
Oh, thank you very much. So I think we can start to paint with a pencil. We don't need to draw a fish with a pencil, only our diver. First, we outline its approximate shape, size, and location. I want to place him here. I outline his shape with light lines and then begin to clarify his silhouette. I paint first head, then torso, behind the oxygen cylinder, legs, fins, arms, and his equipment. We don't need to specify it too much. We have a sketch version, so we don't need a lot of details. If you find it very difficult to draw a silhouette of this diver, you can trace it using a light tablet, for example. You can also attach a sheet to the screen and circle the silhouette in the same way. Well, I think something like this. I think it's done. When our pencil drawing is finished, you can neck the pencil slightly, for example, like this, so that it does not stand out too much. I will not do this now, so that you can see where and what I have drawn.
Inna, is that
Yes.
a kneaded eraser that you used to lift the graphite?
Can you repeat, please?
The eraser that you used? Can you show that?
I used a Faber-Castell eraser.
Oh, okay, so it's a kneaded eraser. Great, thank you.
You can use eraser like this as you want. Okay, I need to wet my colors before I will paint, and my brushes. They need to have a water before we start to paint. And now we can start to working with watercolor. We need a squirrel brush. I use this brush to fill our leaf and to wet or not leaf, a sheet, sorry. We need to wet our sheet. Our task will be to quickly, while the sheet is wet, fill it in one layer so as not return to it anymore. We will have a few minutes for this process.
And Inna,
yes.
What size is that quill brush?
I have silver brush atelier. The size is 40.
Thank you.
Since our format is small, we will cope with this task. When the format is large, it is not easy to do one layer, so you need to adapt to this work. So it's wet now. I get a mix of Phthalo Blue, Phthalo Green, Cerulean, add a lot of water. It must be liquid. And start to fill. On the top, I leave some places white. I put a little of paint. This is the surface of the water that we can see from below. The sun is shining there, so this place should be bright enough.
And Inna?
Yes?
We have 2 questions in the chat that I think kind of go together. One is about how you've taped down the edges of your sketchbook. And the second is asking, does the sketchbook buckle for the other pages when you're wetting the paper after a few layers? So like, does your...
I will read.
Okay.
I will read. About buckle, yes, but I try to not to do a lot of layers, because in my technique I trying to use only one layer. It's very good to have this. Forget the word. It's very good to use this practice, because I don't like a lot of layers. I think it's very hard to your paper. I think something like this.
Great.
And the second question?
It was up towards the top, asking about how you've taped down your pages to the sketchbook.
You mean
yes.
this? Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, sure. It's a rule in watercolor. For real.
And I would imagine that taping it to the sides of the book like that also helps the buckling while you're working on it.
Yeah. Okay. I need to remember what I need to talk. Okay. The lower we go, the darker the water gets, but don't overdo it. Don't do it very dark. You need to be careful at this moment. Below where we have the bottom, we also draw with a light batch, like this, like on the top. There is, I have a lot of water on the brush, but not a lot of paint. In some places, we will apply a darker paint to create the feeling of reflection of shadows on the sand underwater. You see like this. In the place where is the water is lowest, you need to make it dark enough and a little cloudy. So we add a natural tint color and try not to do it's very dark.
I love the granulation that you're getting with those colors.
Yes, Daniel Smith have very cool colors and they have perfect granulation. Well, I think a little bit more I will add on this place.
And when you get to this stage, do you usually keep the book lifted a little bit on an angle?
Can you repeat, please?
The way you're holding the book upright a little bit, is that to help the colors blend downward?
Yes, yes, yes. Well,
It's kind of fun. I can see it moving on the page.
I think that's enough for our fill. I don't need two more. Now oh sorry, my child is crying. Until my fill is dry, I will take a soft flat brush, you see, and brush the paint in the places I want to create a sunburst effect underwater. I wet the brush in clean water, squeeze it out, and gently brush it where I want to show the sunlight. After that, I rinse the brush in water again, rinse it out, and remove the paint. Try to use a soft brush for this because the synthetic brush with a sharp tip, for example, can remove a lot of paints. We don't need it. We need smooth sunlight in water. Oh, I'm really sorry. My son wants to paint with me.
Oh.
Well, I think it's enough. Maybe a little more near our diver. Yeah, I think it's done. And now we need to dry our sheet. So I will use my hair dryer. I hope it will be not very.
And while Inna is drying, I would just like to mention that if you are following along today, we would love to see what you've painted. So I'm going to put our tags for Instagram into the chat. And please share with Extra Studio and with Inna. And there's a question in the chat asking if neutral color is like a Payne's gray. It's very, very similar. Neutral color is a little bit more neutral. Payne's gray is a little bit more blue. Personally, I find they're interchangeable for most things. That's my personal opinion.
Well, I think it's done. I see the question about natural tint color. Yes, Yes, you can. It's like Payne gray, but the Payne gray is more blue, and the natural tint is more violet. Maybe gray with violet. Mix of gray with violet. Yes, but if you want, you can use Payne gray. It's okay. Well, my sheet is dry, so I can start to paint our diagram. So for this, we need a lot of dark color. I will use natural tint. If you don't have natural tint, you can use Payne gray. It's okay. I will take my brush. It's synthetic brush with a sharp tip. I have silver silk size 6. Well, we need a lot of paint at this moment because our dye must be dark, but not a lot of. Be careful with this. So I'll take a lot of paint, remove the water with a paper towel, because we don't need a lot of water, and start to paint our diagram. In this process, we must be quickly too, because we must to fill diagram in one layer too, like our fill. It must be wet for now, so try to do it quickly as you can. If you see that some places start to dry, don't paint on at this place. Give it to dry, and then you can paint on the second layer. It will be better. Something like this. While it's wet, you can add the color. Well, in some places, you can remove the paint to show that the sun shining to our diagram. So we wet our brush on clear water, remove the water, and then remove the paint in the places where you want to show the light. It's still wet, so I can add a color.
Inna, we have a question in the chat saying, does Inna
Yeah.
scuba dive or do you just paint from imagination or photos?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not a diver. I dream about it, but no. I have a lot of friends who are cool photographers, and they are traveling around the world and to visiting places. What I love to paint is Iceland, Greenland, for example, Norway, and I used them photos, and sometimes they buy my paintings with the photos. They love when artists are using their photos for paintings. Well, I think I remove a little bit of paint in some places and will end it with diver.
Wow, removing the paint on the tank really makes a huge difference. It gives them dimension.
Yes, yes. Okay, I think I added some details and it's enough. Well, our diver need to dry, and we can start to paint our school of fish. The process is pretty straightforward. It is necessary to depict a school of fish with a small spots with a different amount of paint. So, for example, I will get my mix of Phthalo Blue, Phthalo Green, Natural Tint, Cerulean with a lot of water and put some spots, big, small, in the we put the spots in different sizes so that they are not the same. Somewhere we add more water, somewhere we add more paint.
And Inna, we have a question in the chat. Is
Yes,
removing the color kind of the opposite of adding shadows?
yes, that's right.
Great. So you're just lifting out some highlights there.
Yes.
We have a comment in the chat saying it's amazing.
Oh, thank you very much.
It really is beautiful.
Well, you can spray the paint a little by tapping on the brush, like this, for example.
Mm. Oh, for little distant fish.
Yes.
Oh, cool. I would have never thought to do
On the reference, we have a lot of fishes.
that.
And we need add too many fish. Otherwise, you can overload the picture.
Mm.
I think at this place we can do more water because the sun is shining in this place.
And here I'm going to post a question to everybody watching. What elements would you add to your underwater world? So please let us know by making a comment in the comment section under the video. So not in the chat, but in the comments for the video. We'd love to hear your answers to that question.
I think I need to add more paint on my brush for drawing darker fishes. Well, it's a really easy way to paint and add underwater landscape. A quick sketch. I want to add some fishes at this place. At this. And maybe at this. You can also edit more fish, like on our reference, but I think we don't need a lot of. Maybe a little bit more.
And I noticed you're making some of them darker, some of them lighter as you go to give some depth.
Yes. I think we can draw a dark fish at here. So he will photograph him. Add more paint and draw this fish. Okay. I want to add more fishes. Well, I think it's enough.
I think it looks fantastic.
Yes, I think it looks great now.
We have a comment in the chat saying, incredible technique for adding the fishes. Let's see, would have never dared to just tap, 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 done in a minute.
Yes, really, it's a really easy way to paint a lot, but with not a hard way. Yes.
Well, that looks
you can lock your imagination and try to change the photo reference. For real, at this technique you can paint a lot of I think maybe stars, for example. You don't need to tap with the brush. For example, you just get your brush and, for example, white paint and just tap, and that's all. The stars on the sky are ready.
Yeah, it's great to learn techniques that you can use in a lot of different settings. Okay, so there's a question saying that they missed the color that you used for the diver and the fish.
For diver and fish, for diver I used a lot of natural tint. You can use the Payne gray, and for the fish, I used my mix with the Phthalo Blue, Phthalo Green, and natural tint. Somewhere I added more green, somewhere I added more natural tint, for example. Somewhere I added more water, more paint.
Nice. And we have a comment in the chat saying, this turned out so well. Can't wait to see what Inna will be teaching for her mini workshop. And that said, let's talk about that a little bit. So the mini workshop is 90 minutes, and you'll delve a lot deeper into the techniques that Inna is teaching today. And it's a wonderful way to support Inna and her artwork as well. So Inna, why don't you tell us a little bit about what more we'll be learning in the mini workshop?
Sure. While drying, I will show you what we will paint on the mini workshop. 1 second, please. We will paint on the mini workshop a sinking ship. I will show to you how to use granulation pigments to create underwater textures like this. I will show you how I used on the big sizes, on the big paintings, for example. You see, it's all I do with granulation.
That's beautiful.
This and this.
We have a comment in the chat saying, wow. Oh, that is gorgeous.
And the painting, what I was show you before, this. All of this I do with granulation. It's a really easy way to paint the textures with I don't know how to say, with the easy way. It's not hard, really. We will do it in one layer too. All of this.
Excellent. All right. So now let's open it up to question and answers. So if you have a question for Inna, please put it in the chat.
I will remove my.
Oh yeah, the magic moment.
It's a lovely moment of all of us artists.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's great.
So again, if there are any questions for Inna, please put them in the chat.
My son will come.
Hello.
I'm very sorry.
It's okay. That's what happens. We all are working from home now, so it's fine. And we have comments saying beautiful and more wows. We've got a lot of wows today. Aw, somebody says hello to your son.
Thank you.
Oh,
I will speak with him.
There is a question. Does Inna have a preferred type of paper for your technique?
I think we forget about question what blue colors are the ocean.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I was getting to that one too.
Yes, for ocean I usually use Phthalo Blue and Phthalo Green.
Okay.
And mix of them. And sometimes I added in this picture I added cerulean. Sometimes I used it's Inna Blue. It's very good paint for the ocean.
Great.
And about paper, I recommended to use only 100% cotton paper because the cotton paper give us a few minutes while it's wet. While the paper is wet, we can work with our fill. The cellulose paper drying very quickly, and we don't have a lot of time to do a perfect fill, for example. I recommended to use Bauhong, for example, arches, maybe Hahnemühle, but the Etcher sketchbook are perfect for this techniques because they have a good paper and it's dry in a few minutes and give us a time for working.
Great. And this is a question that comes up a lot. How did you peel that tape up so smoothly without ripping the paper and everything?
It's impossible to do only with cotton paper. On cellulose, it's very hard to do it smoothly. But I have a tape. I will show you. One moment. This. I'm using the Brauberg tape. It's very good and not expensive. I recommended this tape.
And here's an excellent question regarding the mini workshop. How important is it to have the same paints, the same paint colors that you're using for the workshop?
Well, for real, not. I think not. You can use another paints, of course. You can use, for example, for the ocean, blue, what you have, green, what you have. You just need to mix these paints, but you need a paint with granulation. I recommended to use the Oxide Black by Van Gogh or Rembrandt brand, or Daniel Smith Lunar Black. They are perfect to paint the texture with granulation. But if you don't have the granulation paint, you can use, for example, granulation medium, something like this.
I did not know they had that. I didn't know that was a thing.
You can mix your paint with this medium, and then you will get the effect with granulation. That's what we need.
Excellent. And then we have another question asking about where you get your ideas. Do you scuba dive?
No, unfortunately, I'm not a dive. I have a lot of friends who are photographers, and I take their photos for my inspiration and use them.
Excellent. All right, so it looks like our time is just about up. So once again, I'm going to drop into the chat some links for you. So there's the link for the mini workshop, also our private Facebook group, and we also have a feedback survey. We would really love to hear what your experience was like today, and any of your input is really helpful so that we can keep bringing you content that you will love. And please do subscribe to our channel and turn on the notifications to stay up to date and be alerted to when we go live. We also have our Make More Art podcast and product demonstrations and much more. And thank you, Inna, so much for sharing all your techniques and insights with us today. Do you have any final thoughts before we wrap up?
Thank you all who was painting with me or just watching it. Very it was very hard for me. It was my first experience, but I hope everything will be good. Was very good, and I will waiting for you on my mini workshop where we can paint the wonderful underwater scene. So thank you very much.
And thank you. And once again, I put the tags for Etcher Studio and for Inna for when you share your work on Instagram. We would love to see what you've done if you followed along today or if you paint later. And one more thing about the mini workshop. If you cannot attend live, it's on November 11th at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. But if you cannot attend live, a couple days afterward, the recording is available. So if you purchase the workshop, you will have the recording just a couple of days after it actually happens. And that way you can watch it for as long as Etcher is around, which I hope will be a very long time. So from here, I think we can wrap up. And once again, thank you, Inna. And thank you, everyone, for watching today. And until we see you next time, make more art. Bye, everybody.
Bye, bye, bye. Thank you.